G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/legal advice video. Now before we get into it today, I want you to mosey on over to that old like button and tackle it like Crocodile Dundee. Maybe even chuck an Aussie flag down in the comments. Now with that out of the way, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody legal advice. Now our first story is by user Cat Law, titled, In New York, Groom is dying, time is of the essence. Getting married via Skype in another state, ? So a friend of mine knows a couple in New York City that wants to get married. This recent disease has obviously put any plans on hold, especially since they still need to get the license. The problem is the groom is in hospice, and has maybe a few weeks left to live. He desperately wants to marry his fiancée before he passes. They've heard about some other states performing weddings via Skype, and some, like Tennessee and I think VT, let you apply for a license online. Would they be able to apply for a Tennessee or other state marriage license, and then be married by a Tennessee or whatever official via Skype? Is there any other recourse they might have to get married in New York City during all of this? Would it be possible to do an otherwise legal ceremony sans license, and have it validated after the fact? I know that's been done in the past under special circumstances. Thanks guys. The term you are looking for is a proxy marriage. 4 states allow them. California, Colorado, Texas, and Montana allows double proxy marriages, but only for military members. You would need to appear in person to be married. It seems the hardest part would be appearing in person together to apply for the marriage license. If he can do that, it would just be a matter of finding an officiant willing to go to hospice and provide the ceremony. Even if he was well enough to appear in person to get the license, the courthouses are all shut down. We're hoping that there's some special dispensation the state or another might offer that allows them to legally marry in these extenuating circumstances. I figured that would be the case too. The term you're looking for is proxy marriage, and that is super hard to find these days. Even if another state still offers that, which I doubt, they still need someone to apply for the license, and other states' offices are closed too. I was the proxy in a friend's wedding some 10 years ago, and even then it took 2 weeks/months to arrange. Sorry to say that options don't seem very available. He desperately wants to marry his fiancée before he passes. It would be useful to know why, just for the sake of being married? In which case maybe a religious or other private ceremony. Or is there some legal angle, like allowing his fiancée to receive certain benefits? If so, that's going to be harder to accomplish. You might want to consider contacting either the mayor's office or the governor's office. It may not be the official way of doing things, but either office might be able to help you somehow. Good luck. And now onto our update. I have an update. They have their license, smiley face. They managed to get a hold of the township clerk, who worked some magic for them. They'll be married in the next few days. It may be very down to the wire, as he's not expected to live more than a few days into April, but they'll have their wish and their marriage. Thank you everyone for the input and advice, and those who extended it, their support. If you want to marry your person but keep putting it off, move forward people, don't wait. Alright, what did you guys think of that one? Now on to a interestingly, probably darker tone story. This one's posted by user Death by Elocution, titled Dog Died Under Sitter's Care. Story does not add up. Los Angeles, California, USA. My fiancé and I were out of town for vacation, and we left our 2 dogs with a sitter who runs her own daycare out of her home, in Los Angeles, California. We dropped the dogs off on Tuesday. The sitter informed us that she was going out of town on Wednesday, but had an alternate sitter lined up who would be staying in her house to cover things from Wednesday until her return on Saturday. She also tells me about the vet tech who lives in front of her duplex, who she sometimes uses for emergencies. Today, Saturday, I got a frantic voicemail from the sitter stating that my dog had a seizure and wasn't going to make it. I called the vet, and they confirmed that he was brought in this morning experiencing convulsions, went into cardiac arrest, and they could not resuscitate him. He was a perfectly healthy 5-year-old dog with no issues whatsoever when I left him. I drive home, frantic, and arrive at the vet to say goodbye to my dog, and am told by the vet tech about the bite marks he was treated for elsewhere and was brought in with, which I immediately explain I know nothing about. They bring out my dog's body, which has a huge bite mark with approximately 24 stitches in his spine at the neck/hackles level. I immediately began calling the original sitter and alternate sitter to find out what the hell is going on. Original sitter finally caves and explains that he was attacked at the dog park by a pit-type dog, and she did not get the other dog's owner's information. Says that she didn't tell me because she didn't want to ruin my vacation and it was no big deal. I asked the alternate sitter if the original sitter told her to lie to me, and her answer was, no, yes, kind of. And then she proceeds to tell me that the original sitter didn't want to ruin my trip, and so asked she and her boyfriend not to tell me, and they felt conflicted, but ultimately followed her wishes. I wait for the original sitter to get back to town. While outside, I confront the vet tech who lives in the front of the duplex, asking if he knew anything of what happened to my dog, which he denied. While waiting for the original sitter to show up, fiance overhears the vet tech make a phone call saying, original sitter told people we've been working together and I don't normally do this kind of stuff, but I could lose my job. Moments later, a woman pulls up to his house, enters, carries out a pink duvet from his home and puts it in her trunk and drives away. Original sitter gets home, and when questioned about a vet receipt for the stitches, gives me a photo taken of a printed receipt that shows services were rendered for the 29th, a day after she was already out of town, and that the credit card charged was entered manually. She cannot provide a physical copy of the receipt and the medications she says she provided my dog. I have the bottles, and they do not match the medications on the photo of the receipt she gave me. She tries to say it must have been a brain disease, and that the dog bite had nothing to do with it. But the vet I spoke to who treated my dog for the seizures said that A healthy 5-year-old dog should have survived a seizure, so likely it was a bacterial infection that caused it, potentially from the bite, and B, my dog should have been held for 24-hour observation after the bite/anesthesia/stitches. It seems to me like the original sitter's story is not adding up, and I'm wondering if she didn't have her vet tech friend perform some sort of illegal backyard surgery to stitch up my dog and then have someone forge the receipt. What can I legally do here to get to the bottom of the situation, and what sort of case do I have against her? I don't even care about the money because it won't bring my dog back, but I want to make sure she is never allowed to do this to someone else. I'm so very sorry that you're going through this. I need to be blunt. Is your dog's body still intact? My advice is to request necropsy or an autopsy immediately. This will hopefully give you information on the true cause of death and help to inform your next move. Adding to this, take it to a different vet for the necropsy. Your best bet would either be a university vet hospital or a state lab. A private vet clinic will need to send any tissue samples out for biopsy, culture, etc., which will cost additional. The university hospital or state lab can do a lot of that in-house. Plus, the university hospital or state lab do necropsies all the time. You want someone experienced in this situation, if at all possible. Follow the trail of what she gave you. You have medicine bottles. Contact anyone listed on the bottles and ask as many questions as you can. Also ask her for the name of the clinic and the dog park it supposedly happened at. Dog owners frequent the same parks typically, so go ask around and see if anyone recalls this happening there. I'm so sorry your pet pup was treated so badly. Big hugs to you. Plus, if the bite attack is true, the other owners will tell you immediately as it's never wanted. They'll know who the other's dog owner is, etc. If they say nothing happened, then that is most likely the truth. As soon as there is any bad behavior from a dog or an owner, it goes around like wildfire. And our next post by My Imagination. In Norway, my classmate ordered custom sweaters for our class. The sweaters never came and she got the money back over a year ago. Me and my other classmates never got our money back from her. She has it all. How do I get her to give my/our money back? So, over 3 years ago, January 2014, we ordered custom sweaters for our class. My classmate, let's call her Frida, received money from us and then placed the order. We were around 65 people ordering, and it costed around $25 per sweater, so she got around $1,625. Long story short, the distributor scammed us and we didn't get the sweaters. Frida was clearly annoyed with us asking about updates and stopped replying completely to anything related to it. In August 2017, she announced that she had gotten all the money back a while ago, and that we could send our account numbers and she'd send out the money ASAP. Everyone was relieved and happy. After a few weeks, no one had gotten their money back from her and asked what was going on. One person said she got her money, Frida's best friend, but none of the others as I know of. Now it's over a year ago and no one's heard anything still. She hasn't posted or replied after she made the original post saying that she got the money. I sent her a PM the other day asking for an update. I said it's fine if she needs more time to do it for whatever reason, that I'm sure everyone's understanding, but that people just want to reply. That the silence is the frustrating part, and she has completely ignored it. What can I do to get my/our money back? I thought about telling her I'll report her for fraud if she doesn't reply or give my money back within 2 weeks. The report will most likely not result in anything, but maybe it would push her to repay everyone. So here is what you need to do. You need to get written consent from all the other students that you can retrieve the money on their behalf. Then you send her an invoice for the amount owed. You can use sendregarding.no. This will cost you around 8 to 50 NOK. If she does not pay, most likely, you send her a second invoice, stating that if she does not pay, that you will send the invoice to collection, inkassovercel. Yet again, if she does not pay you, you send her a third invoice, letter of collection. If she does not pay this either, you take your 3 invoices and go to a politiet.no and send the claim with details on the case. She will then have to meet you in LegalAdvice. If she is absent from this meeting, then the fylkesman will deduct the money from her salary until the whole amount is retrieved. You should note here that if it goes this far, it will rack up with further debt around 3,000 to 5,000 NOK, which is $350 to $580. She will probably pay before this, but it is important that you send her 3 invoices and wait out the 14 days that she has to pay before sending you, before you go to collection. It will take you about 2 to 9 weeks. Good luck. Are you sure it was the distributor that scammed you? Do you have the evidence of the correspondence between Frida and the distributor? Not your lawyer, and not particularly legal advice, but some practical points. Keep chasing and involving other classmates if you need to. If she has got the money back, there is no reason why she can't pay you back now. Even cash is fine. It's absurd that she can just pocket $1,600 without any consequence. It all sounds quite suspicious here. Sounds like she is thinking that if she keeps ignoring your texts and others, it will just disappear since it's already been a while. But this is pretty unethical. If you have records of her messages and promises to pay, then maybe this can form a basis of something like a small claim. Not sure how it works in Norway. Sometimes making the threat of taking legal action against her, filing a police report, or escalating within your school will be enough to motivate her to talk. Anyways, as a matter of principle, if I were in your shoes, I would keep chasing, maybe with the group that didn't get paid, and escalating, and record every correspondence, to keep the pressure up of course. It makes no sense how someone can just keep over $1,600 and hope to get away with it. And here's the edit since they can't reply to people apparently. Thank you for all your advice, it's been really helpful. And you're right. The distributor didn't technically scam us since he did repay us after 2 years, or earlier if Frida had them a while. I do know that there was an attempt to get the sweater since she wasn't the only one working on getting our money back and talking to the distributor, and also because we got pictures of the sweaters at one point. I'm not going to talk to the folk high school since the nature of the school is that you take 1 year there, basically studying a hobby that you have. Norwegians often call this a free year to relax before you go to university, and figuring out what you want to do with your life. Since we left that school 3 years ago, I don't think they would appreciate getting involved. If it was a university or high school, I would though. We are all spread across the country now, but I'll message everyone involved and ask them if they want to take legal action against her, at the same time as I message Frida, letting her know that if she keeps ignoring us, it'll have consequences. Hopefully she'll be scared into just repaying us, and if not then, I'll follow your legal advice on what to do next. I won't let it go even if she gives me my money back, but no one else. I'm also going to pop her then boyfriend a message and ask him what he knows, as he was one of my best friends and might have some intel. Heck, that's a very hard one. Anyway guys, with that one said, we're on to our next story, by Sidao6. I was filmed against my consent at a party. This is in California. So I agreed to have a nude dance with another girl at a party in an exclusive society, and the guidelines were super strict that no filming is allowed. Now I learned that I was filmed by some perv through a window and it's now online. Is this illegal? The party was happening in a private residence. Is there any course of action for us? First, ignore the ridiculous fight happening elsewhere in this thread. Second, if you are not too embarrassed, I'd report it to the police. I don't know the full circumstances, but there may have been a violation of California peeping Tom laws. See California Penal Code section 647I and J1. I says, who, while loitering, prowling, or wandering upon the private property of another, at any time, peeks in the door or window of any inhabited building or structure, without visible or lawful business with the owner or occupant. Any person who looks through a hole or opening into, or otherwise views by any means of instrumentality, including but not limited to, periscope, telescope, binoculars, camera, motion picture camera, camcorder, or mobile phone, the interior of a bedroom, bathroom, changing room, fitting room, dressing room, or tanning booth, or the interior of any other area in which the occupant has a reasonable expectation of privacy, with the intent to invade the privacy of a person or persons inside. This subdivision shall not apply to those areas of a private business used to count currency or other negotiable instruments. I know that won't get the video down, but if threatened with potential criminal penalties, the dude might be more agreeable to taking the video down in exchange for not pressing charges. Good luck. If you were visible nude from the window, and the window was accessible to the public, you may have been indecently exposed. Get blackout curtains or dance upstairs next time, if so you don't get ticketed if someone calls the police. I'll let someone familiar with California's revenge porn laws chime in, but I think you may be out of luck. Thanks. The window was not accessible to the public. It was on private residence, and the surroundings were private garden. I'm sorry this subthread turned into a public shaming session. There's nothing wrong with nudity or with nude dancing with consenting adults. Sounds like you may have some recourse against the person who recorded you after all. Under rules specifically designed to criminalize peeping toms on the private moments between adults. Don't threaten the guy with going to the cops to get him to take the videos down. Threatening to accuse someone of a crime, justly or not, in order to compel behavior is extortion, and is a crime in its own right. Just go to the cops and tell them someone peeped on you in private and posted video. Alternately, talk to a criminal attorney and ask what the most effective way to report this would be, then follow their advice. Best of luck getting this cleaned up. Realistically, that video is going to be floating around in the background for years. But if there's any justice in this world, this guy will experience the full weight of his dumb choices. And now, I was filmed against my consent at a party. Update. History. Myself, with another girl, did nude dancing at a private party with our best friends. In a private villa, where expected things to be private. A pervert had followed us and trespassed and took a video from a window and posted it online. I asked if we had legal options against the person. We went to the police, myself and the other girl and the host of the party, the owner of the property, to report it and see if the police will do something about it. They didn't. They said the uploaded video itself is not evidence for trespassing, and the nude/erotic nature of the video will not count as revenge porn, as there were people present at the party, so we couldn't have an expectation of privacy. It sucked. I didn't care about the video being out there, as the chances of someone I know seeing it is probably less than getting hit by lightning, and even if they do, it's not a big deal. But my friend was devastated because her family are very strict about these things. But this didn't end there. This perv didn't stop. He tried to sneak into our other parties as well, but we knew better now and we had security. They got him and handed him over to the police, so he was charged with trespassing, and they also found a camera on him with footage of women's bathrooms. They took his stuff and found out that he's been posting a lot of revenged, hacked, and stolen porn and nudes online. He's now locked up. Our video was also down, and his accounts on porn sites is suspended. It took many months and him fudging up again, but we finally got him, guys. And that's very good to hear. Screw that guy, that is trash. Anyway guys, our next story by Jenny Varela. My sister, 38 female, took her bearded dragon, 1 year old, to a reptile boarding in Southern California, and was returned nearly fried and near death. What can we do? From March 9th to 24th, 2020, my sister boarded her bearded dragon at a reptile shop in Southern California, which we found on Google and had good reviews. When my sister dropped it off on the 9th, she gave careful instructions on the dragon's diet and bathing schedule. She saw that the cage was much smaller than she anticipated, but didn't want to worry, being that it is a specialty shop with high reviews. During her visit in Australia, we called the reptile place to request a status update and a photo. However, we never got the photos. But we didn't let this worry us, as COVID-19 was changing a lot of things and shops were closing down. When my sister returned back to Los Angeles, she was asked to pick up her dragon the following day on March 25th. On the 25th, when she picked up her dragon, she saw that it had its eyes closed, but didn't think much of it until she got home. Her dragon was showing extreme lethargy and closed eyes. I had my sister watch it overnight to see if there were any improvements. The following day, she took the dragon to the vet, which they had to provide care overnight. During this period, I called the boarding and I told them that the dragon under their care had to be held overnight in the hospital. When I called, I said, "I need to know the care you provided, because my sister's dragon is being hospitalized." I tried recording the conversation, but my app didn't work. During this conversation, the man yelled at me and said that the vets don't know crap. They want money, they don't know how I care for animals. I fed, bathed, and we sent photos. I gave him mealworms. I knew then that my sister told them specifically not to feed it mealworms because it didn't sit quite well with the dragon. And then I proceeded to say, "I'm not calling to argue. I need to know how you cared for it so I can tell the vet. Can I also get the photos you said you sent my sister to see the timestamp?" He then said that he couldn't get a hold of them and said that I'll need to call back. The vet report came back and said, "Gravid lethargy, suspect secondary to inappropriate husbandry while boarding." The vet also said that it had a bacterial infection, which is caused by dirty conditions. The final bill was $1,295. The vet recommended us to report it to the BBB. We want to take action, but I'm not sure what to do or how to do it. Do we have something here? I don't think a Google review is sufficient. So Just Bean Thing says, "Gravid lethargy, suspect secondary to inappropriate husbandry while boarding," translates to, "Your dragon was mated. If it's a female dragon, which gravid leads me to believe it is, it's pregnant. So your vet bills aren't over yet." I just reread the report. It says in the second to last sentence, "Evidence of dehydration and reproductive activity." These people are fudging horrible. Would definitely say sue them for your money back, plus vet costs at least. This may sound dumb, but I do ask for our money back when they've been quite aggressive. What are you asking? How do I go about requesting my money back plus the vet bill? Do I call and just say I'd like my money back? Being that the person I spoke to was quite aggressive, I'd like to take caution. You say the situation again. Tell them you want a refund at least, and you think they should pay for the vet bill too. And if they say no, then you see if you can get a lawyer. Maybe you can get them to cover the legal fees too. Thank you, I think I'll write down some key points. To avoid confrontation over the phone and get it in writing, send them a demand letter outlining the facts, how you want them to make it right, and a reasonable deadline to respond. Heck, I really hope that everything goes well for this OP. That was posted yesterday from the day of making this video, so if there is an update, I will post it in the future. And it's a really interesting one, that's disgusting behavior from them. But if not, my end of the story here is this is an obvious open and shut case. It's very easy to see that, they're not going to get away with this one. The court case is going to go in OP's favor. You would think so at least, hopefully. And our second last post, by Griffin880. My landlord just sent out an email telling tenants they are required to inform management if they are sick and what the diagnosis is. I get why they would want to know, and personally, I would inform them if I had coronavirus. But it just seemed off for a landlord to tell their tenants that they are required to inform management if they are sick. I'm in St. Louis. As far as I know, there are no new local ordinances that would support this. Are they allowed to tell the tenant this? Edit, just to update things. After I replied to their email asking if there were any clauses in the lease or new local ordinances requiring tenants to disclose medical information, they responded by saying that they would not allow maintenance to access my apartment. This morning, maintenance deconstructed my ceiling fan to fix it. They left to buy parts, and by the time they would have come back, this had all already happened. So I now have no light in my bedroom and exposed wires hanging from the ceiling. I asked them to come address that and reminded them that I'm not sick with anything, but they seem to be trying to punish me for even asking the question. As my state law requires, I gave them notice that if they can't fix the issue in 14 days, I'll have a contractor come fix it and deduct it from my rent. They responded by saying I need to provide them with documentation of a clean bill of health. I told them that it's impossible as there is no documentation that tells someone a person is not sick, only if they are. And I reaffirmed that if the exposed wires aren't fixed in 14 days, I'll hire a contractor to fix it. It's annoying because I could easily fix the issue, but don't feel comfortable at this point as they have threatened fees if anyone but their own maintenance fixes it. And now I'm the only tenant that has to provide a clean bill of health in order to have a code violation fixed. They are allowed to ask, but you do not have to comply. They might refuse to renew your lease after it expires if you don't comply. I'm moving out at the end of the lease anyway, but because I asked them about the legality of that, they are now refusing to make repairs to the apartment. I had a maintenance guy here fixing a ceiling fan. He took it apart and left to get some parts. He is now no longer coming back, leaving me with no light and a bunch of exposed wires in my bedroom. They are demanding I show them documentation that I am not sick now, which who knows what that even means. So that's fun. And our last post by Obi-Wan Olivia, titled, "My neighbor is trying to murder me." I posted this on r/advice too, but I'm trying to get some feedback here as well. He filed a noise complaint a few nights ago and just lost it when we came out to respond to the cops. We live in an apartment building, and he just stood there shouting until the police restrained him. He's been shouting threats that he's gonna kill us and take advantage of me when my boyfriend leaves for work, through the wall day and night for 2 days. This morning, he was pacing outside our door and waiting for us to leave. I managed to slip out to file a criminal complaint downtown, but they turned me away and said that filing a complaint won't matter anyway, since the courts will soon be closed because of COVID-19. Is there anything I can do besides wait for him to do something? This is pretty terrifying. Update, I'm in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Also, he's calmed down for a couple of hours now. I'll update in the morning if he gets manic again. Also, I'm letting everyone know that the moment I hear him stir up again, I'm getting the hell out of here. At first, I wanted to stand my ground. This is my home, no one can frighten me here, Sansa Stark. But screw that, if I'm unarmed and the police won't help. Update, he's started right back up again this morning, just as angry as ever before. We haven't made a sound in this house since yesterday. We haven't even turned the TV on. I called the police before I got the chance to brush my teeth. They're on the way now. Update, if you live in Philadelphia, your local police department cannot help you if your neighbor shouts mortal threats through the wall at you. They will only give you a report. They will leave you to stay in your house with a psychopath next door up until the moment he breaks in and tries to beat/take advantage of/or kill you. Your local DA's office will tell you there's no point to filing a private criminal complaint because the courts are going to be closed from a deadly pandemic. They will roll their eyes at you and stare as you walk out of that office empty-handed and more afraid than you were before. I cannot stress enough how unacceptable this is. I have to leave my own house that I have a right to feel safe in and stay with distant relatives for God knows how long during a national quarantine crisis. Forgive me for my tenseness, but the city laws enforcement can rot. And everyone was just saying call 911. Obviously with that edit, that's really stupid advice at this point. So Tiny Cabbage, our man, says, practical advice, not legal advice. It is very important that you consider your own personal safety during all of this. If the police is saying that they will not be able to help unless the situation escalates, especially given the current environment with COVID-19 and how thin resources are likely to be stretched, it is not likely that you are going to be able to rely on them for your own personal protection. I am not advocating getting a gun, arming yourself in any way, or preparing to fight back against this individual. What I am suggesting, however, is that you look for another place to stay, at least temporarily, pronto. You need to do everything in your power to de-escalate this situation on your own, because it appears that you may not have any external help available for a while. Find a relative, find a friend, find a hotel, but find somewhere else to go, and get away from this guy before you get hurt, or worse. You only have one life, and all the legal intervention in the world isn't going to do you any good at all if you're dead. Please stay safe, best of luck. Thank you, I'll see if he keeps it up tonight, and if he does, I'm getting out of here. Not a lot of people have this as an option, and I'll take it if it isn't resolved / de-escalated by tomorrow. Anyway guys, this has been your main man Markee, back at it again with your r/legal advice. Hope you've loved the stories today. Tell me what you thought of it all in the comments. I love hearing whatever advice you guys have for the OPs in this story too. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna kick it off with the I love you today guys, tomorrow and next week and until I die. Now, I want you guys to go to sleep and forget today and dream about tomorrow. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!